Hello, and welcome back to Fluent English Journey. I'm really happy that you are here with me today. This podcast is made for learners like you, people who are working on their English, but also working on themselves. You want to grow, to be stronger, more confident, and more free in life. Today's topic is very personal. It is about something almost everyone feels at some point. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever felt stuck between the person you are today and the person you want to become? Maybe you dream about speaking English fluently. You imagine yourself speaking clearly, easily, and with confidence. But in your daily life, you still act like the old version of you. The version that feels nervous. The one that avoids speaking. The one that waits for the perfect time to start. Or maybe you want to feel strong and in control of your future. But something inside you keeps pulling you back to your comfort zone, the safe place where nothing changes. That's what we are going to talk about today. The idea that you cannot be the old you and the new you at the same time. It sounds serious, doesn't it? But it's true. There comes a moment in life when you understand the version of you that brought you this far cannot take you further. That version is not bad. It is not wrong. It has helped you survive. But growth needs change. And change always asks us to let go of something. Old habits, old stories, sometimes even old identities. Now, let's connect this to English learning. You already know that learning English is more than grammar rules and long vocabulary lists. It's much bigger than that. It's about how you see yourself. It's about becoming someone who feels free, expressive, and confident in a new language. That is a huge transformation. And like every transformation in life, it starts with a choice. The choice to stop holding on to the old self. The old self that doubts. The old self that hesitates. The old self that plays small. In this episode, we are going to go deep. We will talk about what the old self really means, why change feels so hard, and how to start building your future self, step by step. I will share examples, stories, and ideas. And don't worry, I will use clear, natural English, perfect for your level. If you are ready to think, to learn, and to take one small step toward the person you want to become, then this episode is for you. So, let's begin. The old self versus the new self. Let's first understand these two ideas, old self and new self. The words sound simple, but the meaning is deep. The old self is not only about your past. It is the version of you that feels safe. It does things the same way every time. It follows the same habits. It uses the same thoughts. It reacts in the same ways, even if those ways are not helping you grow. Your old self was built from past experiences, some good, some painful. Maybe you failed at something before, so now you avoid taking risks. Maybe people laughed at your English, so now you stay quiet. Maybe you got comfortable in routines that do not challenge you. The old self says things like, I'm not good at this. I will never be fluent. This is just who I am. Remember, the old self is not bad. It is not your enemy. In fact, it was trying to protect you. It wanted to keep you safe. But what kept you safe before may now be holding you back. If you live too long in the old self, what happens? You stop growing. You repeat the same habits. You avoid change. You fear judgment. And little by little, you start to feel stuck, frustrated, or hopeless. Now let's talk about the new self. The new self is the version of you that you haven't fully met yet. But you know, deep inside, that you want to become this person. Your new self is confident. Your new self is brave. It is ready to try new things. It takes small steps every day, even if they feel uncomfortable. Backhand index pointing right, that's the beginning of the journey. Choosing to let go of the old self and slowly walking toward the new self. The new self does not wait to feel ready. It does not sit and think, maybe tomorrow, maybe later. Instead, it acts. It takes action first. And through action, it grows stronger. This new version of you shows up to practice. It speaks English even with mistakes. It believes that change is possible. It believes in transformation. Now, take a moment and imagine your new self. What are they doing? Maybe they are having a conversation in English without fear. Maybe they are applying for a new job, joining a class, or leading a meeting. Or maybe they are simply waking up each morning with energy and purpose instead of waking up with self-doubt. Here's the truth. Your new self is already inside you. It's not far away. But to become that version fully, something has to change. Let me give you a picture to make this clear. Imagine a bridge. On one side of the bridge is your old self. That side feels familiar and safe. But if you stay there, you will not move forward. You will stay in the same place. On the other side of the bridge is your new self. This is the future you. The one who speaks with confidence. The one who does not hide. The one who grows and keeps growing. But here's the problem. You cannot live on both sides of the bridge at the same time. You have to walk across. And walking across the bridge, that is the hard part. Why is it hard? Because it is not only about action. It is about identity. When you cross the bridge, you are not just learning a new skill, like speaking English. You are also letting go of your old habits, your old stories, and your old beliefs about who you are. That kind of transformation is not quick. It is not always easy. It takes time. It takes awareness. And yes, it takes courage. This is where many people get stuck. They feel pulled in two directions. One part of them wants change. The other part is scared of change. And that's normal. In fact, it is part of every real growth journey. You might feel excited one day, then afraid the next. One moment you feel strong, the next you want to give up. This is what we call internal conflict, two sides of you pulling in different directions. But listen carefully, this conflict is not a bad sign. This is exactly where transformation begins. Fear does not mean you are weak. Fear simply means you are growing. The old self is trying to protect you from discomfort. The new self is trying to lift you above it. Every time you choose action instead of avoidance, you are building a new habit. Every time you choose practice instead of procrastination, you are changing your mindset. Now, let's pause for reflection. Which version of yourself do you listen to more often, the old self or the new self? When you try to change something in your life, what thoughts do you hear? Are they thoughts that push you forward or thoughts that keep you small? Remember this. Growth always feels uncomfortable at first. That is why many people stay the same. But if you are here, listening to this podcast, it means you are already crossing the bridge. You have already started your transformation. Yes, you may still hear the voice of the old self. And that's okay. But now you also hear a new voice. A stronger voice. A voice that says, I can do this. I am ready for more. I'm not going back. This journey is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming real. It is about becoming who you were always meant to be. And how do you do it? Through consistent action. Through small daily changes. Through a willingness to grow. Step by step, you are creating your new self. Not only in English, but in life. Now that we understand these two versions of you and the emotional struggle between them, we can move forward. In the next part, we will look at why change feels so difficult and what you can do to move past the obstacles. So stay with me. The best part is still coming. Why change feels so hard. Now that we've talked about the old self and the new self, let's be honest about something important. Change is hard. It's not only hard because it takes time or energy. It's hard because change makes us face the things we usually try to avoid, things like fear, doubt, and discomfort. Even when we really want to change, we often find ourselves stuck. We start strong, but then we slow down. We take one step forward, but then we take 2 steps back. But why does this happen? Why do we struggle so much with change, even when we know it's good for us? 1. The comfort zone. One big reason is something called the comfort zone. The comfort zone is the space where you feel safe because everything is familiar. It's where your habits live. It's where you do what you've always done. And because it's familiar, it feels good. It doesn't challenge you. That's exactly why we like it. Even if we're not completely happy there, at least we know it. But here's the problem. Growth never happens inside the comfort zone. Growth only happens when we step outside, when we try something new, when we face uncertainty, when we stretch ourselves. And of course, that feels scary. Let's take an example with English. Maybe you've studied grammar. Maybe you understand many words when you read or listen. But when it comes to speaking, suddenly everything feels different. Many learners don't feel afraid because they can't speak. They feel afraid because they worry about making mistakes. So what happens? They stay quiet. They wait for the perfect moment. They tell themselves, that's just not who I am. I'm not the type of person who speaks in public. But is that true? Or is that just the old self talking? 2. Fear of failure and self-doubt. This brings us to something deeper. Fear of failure and self-doubt. These emotions stop many people from growing. Maybe you've had thoughts like, what if I make a mistake? What if people laugh at me? What if I try and I'm still not good enough? These thoughts can feel very heavy. They create fear before we even begin. So instead of taking action, we do the same old things again and again. We avoid change. We stay in the cycle. But here's the truth. The fear you feel is not proof that you can't change. It's proof that you are stepping outside your comfort zone. Growth does not mean you stop being afraid. Growth means you keep going even with the fear. 3. Identity attachment. There is another reason change feels so hard. It's called identity attachment. This happens when we hold tightly to the idea of who we think we are. We say things like, I've never been good at languages. I'm just not a confident person. This is who I've always been. Even when these beliefs don't help us, we protect them. Why? Because letting go means we have to build a new identity. And building something new takes time, energy, and effort. It's not easy to say goodbye to the version of you that you've known for so long, even if that version is keeping you stuck. But let me tell you something very important. You are allowed to change. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not your old habits. You can learn. You can grow. And yes, you can speak with confidence, even if you've never done it before. A small story. Let me share a short story. I once had a student named Sarah. She was smart and kind. She had studied English for many years. But she almost never spoke in class. Whenever I asked her to say something, she would just smile and shake her head. One day, I asked her privately why she didn't speak. She said, because I've always been the quiet one. That's just who I am. I looked at her and asked, what if that's who you were, but not who you have to be? She was silent for a moment. Then she smiled and said softly, maybe it's time to let go. And that's the key, letting go. Letting go of fear. Letting go of old stories. Letting go of the belief that you have to stay the same. Letting go does not mean forgetting who you were. It simply means you stop letting that old version of yourself control your future. The exciting part. Yes, change is scary. Yes, it's uncomfortable. But it's also exciting. Because every time you choose to grow, every time you say, I'm not going to repeat the past, you are rewriting your story. You are becoming someone new. Someone stronger. So if you're finding change difficult, that's okay. You're not alone. But ask yourself this question. Backhand index pointing right is holding on to the old version of me helping me, or is it holding me back? And then ask. Backhand index pointing right, what is one belief I can begin to let go of today? Remember, you don't have to change everything overnight. Change doesn't happen in one giant leap. It happens step by step. One small choice. Then another. Then another. That is how we grow, one brave choice at a time. In the next part of this episode, We're going to talk about how to recognize when you're still holding on to your old self and how you can begin moving beyond it. So stay with me. Let's keep learning and let's keep growing together. Signs you're holding on to the old you. Now that we've talked about why change feels so difficult, let's go one step deeper. Let's ask an honest question. Backhand index pointing right, are you still holding on to your old self, even if you don't realize it? Sometimes the old self doesn't shout loudly. It doesn't always say, stop, or don't do this. Instead, it hides in small habits. It hides in little excuses. It hides in quiet thoughts that repeat in the back of your mind. That's why it's so important to learn the signs. When you know the signs, you can catch yourself. And when you can catch yourself, you can start making real, meaningful changes. So, let's walk through some of the most common signs that your old self might still be in control. 1. Talking yourself out of opportunities. This is a very common one. You see something exciting, maybe a chance to speak in English, apply for a job, join a class, or try something you've always wanted to do. At first, you feel hopeful. You think, yes, maybe I can do this. But then the fear shows up. The old self whispers, you're not ready. You'll make a mistake. Someone else would do it better. And just like that, you say no. Not because you don't want it, but because you convinced yourself that you're not good enough. Does that sound familiar? 2. Overthinking every decision. Another sign is that you overthink. Instead of acting, you hesitate. You ask yourself too many questions. What if it goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I embarrass myself? You keep searching for the perfect answer, the perfect plan, the perfect moment. But because you want 100% certainty before you act, you end up doing nothing at all. This overthinking feels smart, but it's actually just a protection strategy. It keeps you safe from possible failure. But it also keeps you stuck exactly where you are. 3. Being busy, but not moving forward. Here's another sign. You're always busy, but you're not truly growing. You make to-do lists. You clean the house. You check emails. You scroll on your phone. You do everything except the one thing that would really help you grow. This is called productive avoidance. It feels like progress. But really, it's just another way to stay inside your comfort zone. Deep down, you already know what you need to do. Maybe it's starting that English conversation. Maybe it's signing up for that course. But somehow, you never get to it. 4. Saying, that's just how I am. This might be the strongest sign of all. When you often say things like, I'm not a confident person. I've never been good at learning. I just don't like speaking in groups. It feels like you're speaking truth. But actually, you're just repeating beliefs. These are not facts. These are walls your old self built a long time ago. And every time you say, that's just who I am, you make the wall stronger. But here's the real truth. Just because something was true before doesn't mean it has to stay true forever. You are not stuck. You are not frozen. You are always growing if you allow yourself to. A moment of reflection. So let me ask you, which of these signs feels familiar to you? Have you talked yourself out of something important? Do you overthink small decisions? Are you busy all the time, but not really moving forward? Have you told yourself, this is just how I am? If you said yes to any of these, welcome to the club. Almost all of us have. And that's okay. The goal is not to feel guilty or ashamed. The goal is simply to become aware. Because awareness is always the first step to transformation. Recognizing the old voice. Here's the thing, the old self is clever. It knows how to sound reasonable. It knows how to use fear, doubt, and comfort to keep you where you are. But once you start recognizing its voice, it begins to lose power. And when that happens, you start to hear another voice, the voice of your new self. The new self whispers something different. You can try. You are learning. You are stronger than you think. That's the voice you want to follow. You don't have to be perfect, just consistent. Here's something important to remember. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. So, let's pause for a moment. If you have a notebook nearby, write this question down. Backhand index pointing right, what thoughts or habits am I holding on to that belong to the old me? Take your time with this. You don't have to change everything today. Change doesn't happen in one giant step. It happens in small steps. So here's another question. Backhand index pointing right, what's one small thing I can begin to shift today? One step that belongs to the new you, not the old one. It could be something simple like speaking up, even if your grammar isn't perfect. Asking one question instead of staying silent. Saying, I'm learning instead of, I'm bad at this. These little choices matter. Because here's the truth. Sparkles, you cannot create a new life with old patterns. Sparkles, you cannot become your future self while repeating the past. But here's the good news. You're not stuck. You are never stuck. You are simply in a place of choice. And today, right now, you get to choose differently. Take a deep breath. Let's keep moving forward. Imagining your new self. Now that we've talked about the old self and the signs that it may still be controlling your life, it's time for something powerful. It's time to imagine your new self. Your new self is not just a dream. It's not some fantasy. It's a real possibility. In fact, it already exists inside you, waiting to be brought to life. This new you is the person you are becoming. They are more confident, more expressive, more open to life. They don't hide behind fear or doubt. They don't wait for the perfect time. The new you takes action. They speak. They grow. A guided vision. Let's try this together. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. If not, just picture it in your mind. It's 6 months from now. Imagine your future self. Sparkles, where are you? Sparkles, who are you talking to? Sparkles, what are you doing? Maybe you're having a conversation in English. Not perfect, but natural. Maybe you're speaking up in a meeting, joining a class, or saying yes to an opportunity you used to avoid. Now, look closely at this version of you. Backhand index pointing right, what do you look like? Backhand index pointing right, what's your posture? Are you standing taller? Backhand index pointing right, are you smiling more? And now listen to your voice in this vision. Is it clear? Calm? Strong? You don't need perfect English. You don't need perfect words. What matters is this. You speak with self-belief. You no longer hide your voice. You've learned to trust it. And that trust gives you power. How does it feel? Think about the feelings of this new you. Maybe they feel free from the heavy pressure of overthinking. Maybe they feel proud because they didn't give up when things were hard. Maybe they feel peaceful because they stopped fighting who they were and started building who they wanted to become. This isn't just a dream. It's possible. It's waiting for your decision. One choice at a time. I know what you might be thinking. That sounds nice, but it's too far from who I am now. But let me remind you of something powerful. Every future begins with one choice. The new you is not built from big dramatic changes. The new you is built from small daily decisions. You don't need to know every step. You only need to know the next step. The new you is not someone else. It's still you, just with more courage, more clarity, and more intention. A practical step. Here's something that helps many people. Write it down. Yes, write down your vision of your new self. Describe them on paper. Ask yourself, what are they doing? What do they believe about themselves? What is one habit they have that the old me didn't? You can use these sentence starters. My new self speaks. My new self feels. My new self chooses. If you don't like writing, that's okay. You can speak it out loud. Record yourself. Talk to the mirror. The point is to take this image out of your head and put it into the real world. Because the clearer you see the person you want to become, the easier it is to become that person. A final reminder. I want you to remember this one powerful sentence. Backhand index pointing right, the future you want is waiting, but it cannot meet the old you. The version of you who waits, who hides, who plays small, cannot walk into the life you dream of. That life needs a new energy. That life needs a new level of commitment. That life needs a new mindset. And that new mindset begins with you right now. The transition phase, the in-between. Now let's talk about something many people don't mention enough, the messy middle. This is the phase between the old self and the new self. It's that confusing place where you're no longer exactly who you used to be, but you're not yet fully the person you want to become. And let me tell you, this part of the journey can feel uncomfortable, emotional, and sometimes even lonely. The butterfly metaphor. Think about a butterfly. Before it can fly, it has to leave behind the caterpillar stage. But it doesn't transform instantly. The caterpillar has to build a cocoon. It has to spend time in that dark, tight space while everything inside it changes. It's vulnerable. It's quiet. It's difficult. But the butterfly doesn't get to skip this step. The cocoon is necessary. And the same is true for you. Shedding old skin. During this in-between time, you may feel like you're shedding old skin, habits, thoughts, and feelings that no longer fit who you're becoming. Like a snake that outgrows its old skin, you have to let go so you can grow. And shedding doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels itchy, tight, uncomfortable. You might even find yourself wanting to go back to the old ways, just because they feel easier or safer. But at the same time, something new is happening inside you. You're slowly building new habits, a new mindset, a new sense of identity. The emotional roller coaster. This process is rarely smooth. Some days you'll feel strong and clear. Other days, confused and doubtful. That's normal. Transformation is not a straight line. It's a winding path with ups and downs. And in this stage, it's normal to question yourself. You might wonder, am I really changing or am I just pretending? You might feel lost because the old self no longer fits, but the new self still feels unfamiliar. But here's the key. This discomfort is not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you're moving forward. What you need most, patience plus consistency. This is where patience becomes essential. Change doesn't happen overnight. It takes consistent effort, even when the results aren't obvious yet. It means showing up for yourself every day, even when you don't feel like it. It means choosing courage. The courage to face uncertainty and keep going. Think of consistency as the bridge that carries you across this messy middle. Small daily actions are the steps. And step by step, they add up to transformation. Small actions that build the new you. So maybe today, you practice speaking English out loud for just 5 minutes. Maybe you say no to one old habit that pulls you backward. Maybe you choose action instead of avoidance, just once today. These small choices may not look dramatic, but together they're reshaping you. They're building your new identity, even if you can't see the full picture yet. Real-life examples. Now that we've talked about the transition phase, let's ground it in something real. Because sometimes, the best way to believe in your own growth is to see how others, ordinary people, just like you, have walked the same path. These stories show one simple truth: change is possible. But it isn't easy. It takes courage, effort, and the willingness to step into discomfort. Let's meet 3 people who made that choice. Anna's story, finding her voice. Anna had been learning English for years. She understood emails, read documents with ease, and followed conversations at work. But when it came to speaking, she froze. In meetings, she stayed quiet. She told herself, "That's just who I am. I'm shy. I don't speak well." Then one day, something changed. Her manager asked her a direct question in a team call. For a second, Anna wanted to hide. But instead, she took a deep breath and answered. It wasn't perfect. Her grammar wasn't flawless. But it was clear. It was honest. That single step opened the door. From that day on, Anna kept speaking a little more each time. Yes, she felt nervous. Yes, she made mistakes, but she kept showing up. Slowly, her confidence grew. Her English improved. And more importantly, Anna discovered that speaking wasn't about perfection. It was about courage. Today, Anna is one of the most active speakers on her team. And now she inspires others to speak too. Carlos's story, building a new career. Carlos spent years in the same job, feeling stuck. Inside, he dreamed of something more, digital marketing. But self-doubt held him back. He thought, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? So he stayed in the comfort zone, thinking and planning, but never acting. Until one day, a friend pushed him. Just start small, they said. Carlos listened. He signed up for a course. The first weeks? They were tough. He made mistakes. He felt overwhelmed. More than once, he wanted to quit. But he remembered why he started. He wanted freedom. He wanted growth. So he kept practicing. He built small projects. Step by step, his skills improved. And step by step, his identity shifted. From hesitant beginner to confident professional. Now Carlos works in the career he once only dreamed about. His story reminds us that fear is not the end, it's the doorway to new opportunities. Lena's story, from shy to confident. Lena had always been shy. As a child, she barely spoke in class. As an adult, she avoided attention. But deep down, Lena wanted more. She wanted to be confident. She wanted to use her voice. So she made a bold choice. She joined a small English-speaking group in her community. At first, she barely spoke. Just sitting in the room felt like a challenge. But Lena set small goals. Introduce herself, ask one question, share one idea. Little by little, her fear faded. She began to enjoy speaking. Eventually, she didn't just participate, she started helping others prepare their speeches. What changed for Lena wasn't just her English. It was her mindset. She realized that confidence isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, step by step. The lesson. What Anna, Carlos, and Lena show us is simple. Change is uncomfortable. Growth is messy. But if you take small steps and stay consistent, transformation happens. And if they can do it, so can you. Smooth transition. Before jumping into the practices, add one short connecting sentence that ties the stories to the daily actions. For example, so now that you've seen how others have transformed their lives, let's talk about what you can actually do every day to create the same kind of change for yourself. Keep practices clear and punchy. Right now, each practice is explained really well, but some listeners might get lost in the longer explanations. A simple rhythm can help. Name the practice. Give a one-sentence explanation. Give one short example. Example rewrite. Practice number 1. Talk like your future self. Instead of saying, I can't, try saying, I'm learning. This small change shapes how your mind sees you. Add an encouraging wrap-up. After the recap, close with one motivating sentence that reminds them it's doable. Remember, your new self isn't built in one day, it's built every day. And with each small step, you're already becoming that person. Your environment matters. By making these practices part of your daily routine, you build new habits, a new mindset, and a new identity. That's how the old self slowly fades and the new self begins to shine. But here's something we don't talk about enough: your environment. When I say environment, I don't just mean the weather or where you live. I mean the people you spend time with, the conversations you have, the media you consume, and the energy that surrounds you every single day. There's a famous quote, "Show me your friends, and I'll show you your future." Think about that. The people closest to you are shaping your thoughts, your habits, and even your goals. If you're surrounded by negativity, by people who complain, avoid growth, or stay stuck in fear, it becomes harder for you to grow. But if you're surrounded by people who believe in change, who try new things, who speak with hope and support your dreams, that energy becomes a part of you, too. Your environment is like a mirror. It reflects your values, your fears, and your ambitions. So ask yourself, are the people around you encouraging your growth? Do they challenge you in healthy ways? Or do they hold you back with doubt and criticism? And it's not just about people. It's also about what you feed your mind, your mental diet. What are you watching, listening to, and reading? Are you filling your mind with ideas that help you grow? Or are you scrolling through things that leave you drained, discouraged, or distracted? Changing your environment doesn't always mean cutting people off or moving to a new city. Sometimes it's as simple as spending more time with those who lift you up. Joining a group where people are learning, growing, and practicing, whether that's English, business, or confidence. Or it might mean choosing less time with distractions that keep you stuck. Yes, it takes courage. Because stepping into a new environment means leaving behind what's familiar. But remember this, you cannot become your future self if you stay in the same space that created your past self. Growth needs new soil to take root. Shaping your environment and closing thoughts. Energy matters. Growth needs fresh ideas, open conversations, and safe support. So today, take a moment to reflect. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with, in person or online? What kind of energy do they bring into your life? And what kind of energy are you giving back? It's okay to make small changes. Maybe it starts with one positive conversation, one new friend, or one podcast that inspires you. Your environment matters more than you think, and the good news is you can shape it. You can build a space, online and offline, that supports the version of you that you're working toward. As we come to the end of today's episode, let's look back at what we've explored together. The most important message I want to leave you with is this. You cannot be who you were and who you want to be at the same time. One of them has to go. This means that if you want to grow, if you want to step into the future you dream of, you need to let go of the old version of yourself. The one that holds you back with fear, doubt, and old habits. Change isn't easy, and it's not supposed to be. It asks us to choose courage over comfort, to step out of our safe zones, and to face the unknown. Here's the good news. Courage doesn't mean you are never afraid. It means you keep moving forward despite the fear. When you choose courage, you open the door to new possibilities. You create space for your new self to grow, to learn, and to shine. So I want you to ask yourself this important question. What part of your old self are you ready to leave behind? Is it the voice that says, I can't? The habit of avoiding new challenges? The fear of making mistakes? Maybe it's all of these. Or maybe it's something only you know. Whatever it is, naming it is the first step to letting it go. Thank you for showing up today, for listening, reflecting, and working on your personal growth as well as your English skills. That takes strength and dedication, and you deserve to feel proud of that. Remember, every step you take in your English learning journey is also a step in your personal growth journey. They go hand in hand. If you found value in this episode, consider subscribing so you don't miss future conversations like this. I'd also love to hear from you. What part of your old self are you ready to let go of? Or what small step have you taken toward your new self? Leave a comment to share your thoughts. Your story might inspire someone else who needs to hear it. And if you think this episode could help a friend or family member, please share it with them. We're all on this journey together, and the more support we have, the stronger we become. Remember, you are capable of more than you know. Your new self is waiting, ready to step forward when you are. Until next time, keep choosing courage, keep practicing your English, and keep believing in yourself. You're doing an amazing job. Thank you for listening to Fluent English Journey. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode.